The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
Welcome to the TechSom podcast. I'm Chris, your host, and today we have some awesome guests. Today we're thrilled to have two exceptional members from the Waiakea High School Technology Learning Center. Micha and RJ here. They just came back from a competition during spring break. Again, thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So Micha and RJ, if you guys could just introduce you guys selves.
So I'm Micha. I'm a senior at Waiakea High School. I started robotics back in second grade, and I've been with it ever since. And Waiakea Technology Learning Center has really served as my home base for a lot of the different activities that I'm a part of and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really helped me grow in school, and it's been a part of every part of my life.
And I'm RJ. I'm the treasurer and head of public relations for Waiakea High School Technology Learning Center Robotics.
So what drew both of you guys into robotics?
So for me, back in second grade, our robotics was just starting out in Waiakea Elementary School. So our teacher was super interested in doing VEX robotics. That's not the one we do in high school. So we did VEX IQ in second grade. I was really into like tech stuff, and I participated in some of the camps that the Waiakea High School team actually ran, which is kind of funny because now we're in those shoes now. But that sparked my interest in robotics in general. I started in second grade, super passionate about it, and became captain, and stuck with it ever since. And in eighth grade, I got recruited to join the high school team. One of my friends at the high school actually wanted to try to get more intermediate schoolers involved so that when they got to high school and they were seniors, they could actually take on more leadership roles and were more experienced. So that's exactly what happened. After COVID, the club took a big hit. And so having those intermediate schoolers that were now turned into high schoolers was very beneficial for the club's health. We saw a huge loss in membership just because, everyone graduated after COVID time. But thanks to those who had been in the program from before, from eighth grade, it was able to recover. And that's about the time that I started asking RG to join after COVID. So yeah, that's kind of my journey in robotics.
So did you guys know each other prior to robotics, being in the robotics club?
Yes. We knew each other since like first grade because we started with Cub Scouts, and then come freshman year, he was like, I'm doing this thing, robotics, you should join. It's really cool. And I was like, I'm not sure. So it started off like I wasn't really focused on engineering growing up. Like most of my family comes from like a medical background, so they're not really into engineering. But one of the biggest things I learned was like robotics isn't just engineering. There's so many things you can do. Like I was able to gain like a lot of business and a lot of communication skills.
Prior to you guys coming in, obviously we're going back and forth as far as the name of the robotic organization. So it's the Waiakea High School Technology Learning Center. It's the relationship that you guys also have, right? You can kind of go into that.
Yeah. So one of our main sponsors and one of the main organizations that helps us to run our program is called the Learning Center. And they're a statewide program who sponsors multiple different learning centers around the state. Each one specializes in their own area. So we are a technology learning center. There's also a technology learning center in Waiakea High School on the Kona side of the island. But yeah, we are the one based in Hilo. So we serve as the learning center that helps foster that STEM growth in students in all of East Hawaii. So we don't only have members in Waiakea High School, but also in Keao, Hilo, or any other public school. All public school students are eligible to join our learning center to help grow their STEM education and learn more about STEM. But we are based in Waiakea, so that's why we're called the Waiakea Technology Learning Center.
And then, so you guys get a bunch of grants. Is that the overarching organization that helps you guys proceed in spreading STEM throughout the east side? I should say.
Right. In the past, Waiakea Robotics has been very, very successful. I'm sure maybe you've heard about it. Waiakea's been very well known for their robotics program. But one of the main issues that they faced in the past was a lack of sustainability in their funding. And so being a part of this learning center program and being a technology learning center funded by the learning center really helps us to ensure that we will be able to sustain this program over a long period of time, which is something that just hasn't been done before at Waiakea.
When did the learning center get involved? When did that get embedded into the robotics club per se? Was it like just recently, or they've always been part of you guys' organization?
Right. So in the very beginning, it was started by Mr. Dale Olive and Mr. Hagiwara. They called it the Science Club and STEM Club. It changed names multiple times, eventually ending on the Robotics Club. It stayed like that for multiple years, and only, I think, 7 years ago were we adopted by the Learning Center as the Technology Learning Center. And so with that newfound responsibility, we were not only a robotics club, but also a hub for all STEM learning. And that's kind of when we branched out from just doing First Robotics are focusing on robotic stuff to other things in STEM. As I said earlier, anyone from any public school is eligible to join our Technology Learning Center, even though it's based in Waiakea High School. So we do have people from Keao and Hilo that drive over after school to come help us out with our robotics. That being said, in collaboration with other clubs, I believe Hilo and Keao run their funnels into our learning center as the robotics club of their school. So if you join their robotics club, that is kind of you signing up to join the Waiakea Technology Learning Center in a way. I'm not sure if all of their members come to us, but I know a good amount do.
No, that's awesome. Like I often think people think robotics is very cutthroat, and then hearing that is really awesome that people can collaborate, especially like you said, you guys are having a hard time. Well, it helps with funding, but also membership as you guys try to figure out ways to recruit more people moving forward and whatnot. So the school club is called you guys' team is called Hot Rocks, or do you guys know the history of that, or you guys that's just this year you guys are called the Hot Rocks?
No. So our name has been Hot Rocks from 2002, and the original reason why is because they were just starting up. They didn't know it was going to become this big thing, right? They just wanted to try it out, and so when they did that, they were like, "Oh, we're the first team on Hawaii Island. We should call ourselves something relating to the volcano." And so Hot Rocks relates to the volcano, lava, hot rocks. I don't know. That's what we were told. Yeah, but it's a very, very old name.
Wow. So 2002 was
That's the start.
Of first at Waiakea High School.
Right.
Wow. Well, I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Where have you guys competed in in general?
Right now, we are primarily focused on competing in Florida. I believe that's where we've been for the most part.
Yeah. For the past 3 years, we've competed in Florida.
Yeah. So in the past, I know they went to California. That was one of the big ones with Hagi and Mr. Olive.
Yeah, we've also gone to Japan for a few times for robotics competitions, as well as the tournament hosted in Hawaii. The reason why we're going to Florida is 2 reasons. So we compete in 2 tournaments there, the Tallahassee Regional and the Orlando Regional, in that order. The Tallahassee Regional has only been a thing for the past 3 years, but over those 3 years, it's gained its reputation for being a small but very competitive regional. And so a lot of the world's best teams go there. This year, debatably, the world's best team actually went and competed there. So we got to see them. That was awesome. The second regional we go to, and we've been going to these regionals for the past 3 years, is the Orlando Regional, which is known to be the biggest regional in the world. And so with that, we get to gain a lot of different connections from with a lot of teams from different countries. So this year we met up with teams from Brazil, Spain, UK, of course, America and Florida, and then other states around the US as well. Way back when, before we were at the Technology Learning Center, they used to do First Robotics, Vex Robotics, Microbots, a lot of different robotics, underwater robotics, rocket stuff, ton of different things. But afterwards, we found the best way to grow those STEM skills in our students, in our high school students, is through First Robotics. There really isn't anything like it in terms of robotics competitions go. The robots are much bigger, much more complex, require a lot more thinking in their design, a lot harder to manufacture, a lot more realistic to manufacture. And because of that, we focus all of our resources into First Robotics and all of the things that involved in that.
If you can tell our audience kind of like how is First different?
Actually making the robot and stuff like that is actually made by us. So our robot was actually designed by Micha this year. And there's a lot of components that go into the robot, like wiring and stuff like that. But a lot of the time we start our design, we can't make our own motors, unfortunately. They're very hard to make. So of course we buy those, but a lot of the components of our robots we do make ourselves.
A lot of the other robotics leagues, like you mentioned, have some restrictions on what you can and cannot use. The only restriction on parts for First Robotics is that you cannot have a single part cost over $600, I believe. Anything below that's fair game. So pretty much anything. We use a lot of 3D printing and CNCing to make a lot of our parts. That's the main difference between First Robotics and Vex, is just free reign over whatever you want.
That's very unique. So all the skills that you learn are straight up from high school, right? Or like, did you guys go to like camps and whatnot to, I guess, learn additional skills throughout the year, or just, on YouTube, or how did it work out for you guys?
A lot of the skills that I learned originally came from the AP courses and some of the English classes that we took. I learned I'm okay at presenting and I can speak okay. And so from there, when I joined robotics, I was like, I'm not that good at the mechanical side, but we do need a stronger PR team or business team. So I talked to Mike about this, and he taught me some of the things that he learned, and I went on my own endeavors and learned some stuff too. And it came out as it was a big learning experience. I learned how to communicate with these companies that are more than willing to help, but they need a reason why.
Right. And as far as like more of the STEM hard skills goes, the main way that our students learn these things, like CAD, manufacturing, all these things, our alumni and our more senior members who are more experienced, they teach the classes to the underclassmen. So, for example, last summer I taught a CAD class to a lot of our new members, and that stuck with quite a bit of them. They went home, continued that learning, and now those people are now our lead designers for our robot. So they will be the ones teaching the next CAD class to the next generation. And so that passing down of knowledge is really the main way that our students learn those skills.
I guess for designing and whatnot, people are willing to share that time. Like, could you go elaborate on those companies or who sponsors you guys and what kind of interaction you have with them?
A lot of our sponsors are, this year we contacted a lot of engineering firms, a couple of them off the top of my head, W Squared, Kaufman Engineering, stuff like that. We reached out to them and
they're local?
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm pretty sure we've only contacted local companies this year. We are looking to expand into more mainland companies, but that is a whole nother landslide. So we primarily focus on local companies because, local people like to support local. Our sponsors, like the support they give us does go towards parts and stuff for the robot, because robotics isn't cheap, unfortunately. These local companies come in, they support us with, they sponsor us, and we're able to buy off all these expensive parts and stuff like that to go to our robot, and it allows us to build a more quality robot. Another thing we want to do this year, hopefully coming up soon, or we have bought in a couple new machines so that we can actually make more parts on our own, so we don't have to spend all this money on very expensive parts. And we also teach more people how to use manufacturing instruments.
I do want to add on, oftentimes the best way they can support our program is through financial support. As RJ mentioned, very expensive. Robotics is very expensive. However, that's not always the way that they do it. So another big mission of ours is to spread STEM education in Hawaii. We kind of act as a learning hub, not only for high schoolers, but for people of all ages. High school clubs are very difficult to have a sustainable amount of members in. We choose to support local STEM education organizations to have the biggest impact we can on the community and really helping out as much as we can. We feel that's the best way we could do it. So we partner with organizations like Next Tech, Hawaii Science Tech Museum, and Zonta Club of Hilo for a lot of their STEM education programs. And that's the other kind of partnership that we have with organizations is really spreading STEM education and making it more accessible and better for the children of Hawaii.
2024, how large is the robotics club at Waiakea?
Right now, we have a count of around 60 members. Not all of them are active, as with all.
60. Oh, wow.
I'd say really core team, super active members. We have about 20 members. Yeah.
That's still pretty large.
Yeah.
Kind of talk about your robot and what the competition was about.
So a lot of the times our format for these last couple of years has been the first competition is tuning up our robot. Because we have a lot of restrictions being in Hawaii, shipping in parts and stuff like that is really difficult. It took us about 6 months, honestly, even more.
Oh, to ship the parts.
Here. So one of the biggest struggles we had this year was we needed motors for our robot to power the shooting mechanisms and stuff like that. And they didn't come until February. So we had 1 month, or exactly 1 month.
Right.
Yeah, we had exactly 1 month to build and design the entire robot. So we didn't have enough time to both build the robot and test it at the same time. I think we finished the robot like 3 days before we had to leave for competition. So we built the entire robot, took the entire thing apart, packed them in suitcases, and we were off to Florida. So one of the biggest challenges is actually making sure our robot works. So in Tallahassee, we use that as make sure everything works, make sure all our systems are in check, and everything works how it should. So in Tallahassee, we were able to make sure everything was perfect, and our robot came out really good going into Orlando. In Orlando, we actually did really well in Orlando. Out of the 9 games, we won 8, and we were able to make it to the semifinals.
The motors and certain pieces of hardware do take a long time to ship. We can design the robot without them. It's just very difficult to do real testing without, moving parts. So a lot of the time, before those motors come in, we're using like drills attached to the shafts, the motors, and just to simulate what motors would do. And so we kind of do know that we did know that the robot would work in competition. We just didn't see it work really yet. And so that first tournament is for making it work like how it should. And the second one is to win.
Nothing from last year can apply to, if you guys had spare motors or whatnot.
Sort of. So no existing, the rules are a little iffy on this, but you're not supposed to build anything on your robot before the season starts in January. So you have from January until your competition in March to make your robot, design it, program it, everything like that. As for the actual parts, you can reuse them. It's just that every year they come out with a version that's 2 times better. And so when you're going against the other robots with those 2 times better versions, you're just not going to be able to compete if you have those lower class motors and pieces of hardware. A lot of times they also do update the hardware needed to compete in these competitions. So you need to have those new ones. So that's been a huge restriction for us.
So what is the competition this year?
There's a theme, overlying theme for every single game. So this year it was music or sound, whatever you want to call it, because the game name was Crescendo. So basically we had to get these, unfortunately we don't have them, but we had to get these, I'd say about this size note, and we had to fly them into a speaker or amp them into this little box thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically we had to score into a speaker or into an amp, and at the end we had to hang on this little chain at the end. So every year the game is different, but they do typically have a similar scoring element, usually a circle, triangle, or a cube. This year was a circle.
Those notes that RJ's talking about, it's kind of like a rubber hula hoop around this big. You have to shoot it into this kind of goal-looking, upside-down basketball hoop-looking thing that's about 6 feet in the air. And then there's a hole in the wall to place those hula hoops in, or the hula hoop-looking ring things into the wall as well to score more points. It's a very complex scoring system, but that's the general concept. You just score those rings into different areas.
And this is fully automated, right?
No. So for these competitions, there's 2 different parts to each robotics match.
Okay.
Each robotics match is a 3 versus 3 robots versus 3 robots. The match is a total of, I want to say 2 minutes long. There's a 15-second autonomous period. And so for the beginning 15 seconds of the match, the robots are completely autonomous. After that, then the drivers take control of the robots and drive it manually.
Well, is it like PlayStation controllers or like
Or you can use
RC
whatever.
controllers?
Yeah, whatever you
In
want.
you guys' case, what do you guys end up using?
We used an Xbox controller and an old Logitech controller. Last year, we tried out some flight stick stuff with, those flight simulator sticks. That didn't go so well. Our driver didn't really like it. So we switched over just using game console controllers. Yeah.
And is it just one driver, or you guys can have 2 drivers? One actually moving the parts and one actually driving?
Right.
Oh, okay. So this is a very like tag team, very coordinated kind of effort, regardless if it's autonomous and or manual.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So a big part of robotics, the difference between intermediate and high school, the biggest difference I found, having done it all these years, is the amount of time you commit to these things. At the high school level, we're kind of known as the club that stays super late and does all that stuff. I remember there was a club meeting for all the clubs at our school, and when we said how many hours we spent every week there, everyone started laughing at us just because of the amount of time that we put into it. But we really do think it's worth it. And so for the duration of the robotics season, which is from January to March, a lot of our members are putting in 30 plus hours a week into this activity. And so we're staying until 9, 10 at night.
Every day.
Right, every day.
And the weekends too?
Sometimes we come in on weekends, right? So we have really dedicated advisors. I'm really thankful for them. But a big thing that comes from that is absolutely insane, like time management skills. All of our members are extremely organized and develop that skill of keeping up with their schoolwork, right? If you're spending 6 or 7 hours a day of your free time at robotics, that's 6 or 7 hours a day less you have to do your homework and keep up with your grades. So a lot of us find that we come out of the season having very strong skills in those areas.
I'm gonna flip this computer around, and then you guys kind of go through the memes, and then you guys can just read it out loud too, and then you guys reaction.
Yeah, definitely every time.
Yes. A lot of the times, I think a couple of the parents that come in who've never seen, who their kids like don't really talk about robotics that much, they ask, "Oh, is this BattleBots? Or are you guys doing something like BattleBots?" It's a very common question.
Every time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to choose between social life and robotics.
I mean, I think we're kind of lucky. A lot of us are, our team dynamic is really strong. Like pretty much all of us we're great friends. So luckily we have a great social life in that aspect.
But you can definitely relate to that though. I mean, there's a lot of time that goes into just talking about the time that
But
goes
with
into it. Yeah.
60 members in the club, I think that helps quite a bit.
Oh, for sure.
It's not like 5 people in the middle of the AV room, like gearing something together.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So scouting and robotics. Scouting's a huge, important part, but that's exactly how it is. So this is for every team, actually. All the newer members are told to scout. It just helps you learn more about robots and all that. So their job is to watch robots in matches. And oftentimes these people that are not so experienced in robotics, they write down everything about every robot. Yeah. Even the stuff you don't really need.
So a lot of the scouting actually occurs during competition. So you have like your initial scouting. There's one day, there's one day dedicated to only practice matches, just to make sure everybody's subsystems, all the robots are working. So on that day, what a lot of people do is we'll have all the newer students, or even me, I went out a couple times to just go scout, look at the top teams, look at the bottom teams, look at the middle, just note down everything, because at the end we do if you are pick, or if you're top 8, sorry. If you're top 8, or if you do, if you're like top 10, you have a pretty high chance of being able to choose your teammates. So a major aspect of that is actually scouting and making sure that this team can actually do what they say they do.
Oh, so you pick your teams when you compete.
Yeah, so there's 3 stages to each robotics tournament. There's the practice rounds, as RJ mentioned. There's the qualification rounds, which runs the entire second day of the tournament. During those qualification rounds, you earn your ranking in the tournament. And then finally, there's the elimination round, which is just like a classic double elimination style bracket. And so for that last bracket, based on how well you ranked in the qualification rounds, you choose who your partners will be in the elimination rounds. For those matches.
Oh, yes.
It's so real. Yeah.
This year, actually, a lot of our robot was held together with zip ties. I think you can elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, everything at Orlando towards the end, I mean, you know, these robots are huge. They're like 125 pounds. They're going really, really fast, hitting each other super hard. And so things are bound to break, especially if you're coming from Hawaii, you got to pack it in suitcases. Not the most sturdy robot, right? Because we got to be able to build it back at competition. So, a lot of our things started breaking towards the end of competition. So we were just slapping zip ties on that thing until it worked. Yeah.
Everything is freighted, or like how does it get to Florida? Like, or when you guys fly, it comes with you guys.
Yeah, for us, we just bring it with us in suitcases.
Oh, dang.
So we rebuild it when we're there. For us this year, we did it in our Airbnb in the garage for 2 days. The first 2 days we were there. Yeah.
That's crazy. And this is the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one of our programmers last year, actually, his name is Cole. he was he the only programmer? Yeah, he was the only programmer. So he was up for 18 hours a day, just coding the entire time on the trip, and he was working super hard.
Yeah, we worked him to death. Not only code even, because 2 years ago when we were still recovering as a club, I still remember coming home at 3 a.m. from robotics. I mean, we're leaving that Friday. It was Monday, and we're like, guys, it's not done. We got to get this done. And so, we did what we had to do. Stayed super late. Yeah.
What's the latest you guys, or at least, on school grounds, that must be kind of weird. Like, people are gone already. You guys are the only one. So what's the latest you guys have been here on campus?
For me, this year, I think it was 12 o'clock almost?
Yeah.
Pretty close to 12.
Mine is, I think, 2:30 or 3 a.m. Yeah.
Oh my
that was a
gosh.
crazy day.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to share those with you because you guys brought it up multiple times. I was like, I got to do it because this is real. This is what's happening. You guys both being seniors, what's the next step?
I won't be going into an engineering career, but I am following a STEM career. I plan to major in chemistry at UH Hilo. After that, I'm not so sure. After robotics, I have learned that engineering is actually surprisingly cool. It's not a primary career, but it is something I wouldn't mind going into.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm planning to go to UH Manoa for a degree in mechanical engineering, and I want to hopefully be a mechanical engineer for some NASA contracting company. That's kind of like my dream job.
Let everybody know how robotics has changed or has helped you guys determine where you guys want to go.
I don't really travel that much. I mostly stay here in the island. So going out to Florida was actually a very interesting experience. I learned that I wouldn't mind going there. I am now planning to go there for my post-high school or post-college education.
It's really guided everything that I do in school and out of school. A lot of my activities cater towards something in STEM now. And through that, I think one of the lesser known but very valuable things that I gained is a lot of business-related skills, surprisingly. Not so much... of course, I gained a lot of STEM hard skills like CAD and manufacturing, all that stuff. But one of the more less talked about things is the business skills that you gain from doing these things, right? All of my involvement with these different organizations and just the community events with robotics that our club runs and the ones that we help with as well. All of those things have built up a lot of communication, leadership, and teamwork skills in myself. And I do feel a lot more competent in areas of business now than I did prior to joining robotics. Of course, it's also guided me in STEM, but I think that's something that's always talked about, and I wanted to just kind of add something that isn't really known as well.
No, people always think it's just math, hard math, right. Coding, manufacturing. No, but it's the soft skills that actually matter. And that's how you guys team skills to have such a compressed season and like you said, time management and the dedication to get you guys final product, which is those robots to compete 3 days prior to you guys, or get it put together prior to you guys, 3 days prior to you guys leaving. That just speaks volumes on just how dedicated you guys are to the club. So that's awesome. Any last words to the audience that you guys wanted to give a shout out to?
Yeah, for sure. So anyone wanting to join robotics, just go for it. I mean, as you said, robotics or STEM in general is not all super hard math. The robotic stereotype of having those nerdy kids work on robots is just not true. And I wish a lot more people knew that and knew the more human and social side of robotics that there is. Robotics is super, super friendly. It's based on these values of sportsmanship and gracious professionalism. That's two of the main themes in all of robotics. And it's super, super beneficial for everyone. And so the biggest thing I want to tell everyone is if you have any interest in joining, for high school students especially, please do. It's a very good program to take advantage of.
Yes. And coming from a first year, it's a lot more than just designing and all this math, engineering, all that. There's more of there's also a hidden communication aspect, as Micha mentioned. Business is a very important part of robotics. And even if you don't know what you want to do or how you're going to do it, you can always fall back on business or communication skills, and that'll get you somewhere in robotics, no matter what you do.
Thank you, Micha and RJ, for coming to our TechSum podcast. I do appreciate you guys' time. If people wanted to learn more about the club, what's the easiest way to reach out to you guys?
So we actually have a monthly newsletter. We're actually going to have our Tallahassee, Orlando recaps going out soon. We have a QR code, and you can just sign up for our newsletter. You'll get a monthly update on what we do, upcoming STEM camps. One of our biggest ones being HIRA coming up soon as well. So any club events or anything club related, we go through our email, our newsletter. If you're
Interested in any more information, if you want to sign up for any of our programs, or just know anything more, have any questions, you can contact us at frc1056@gmail.com.
We also go through our Instagram.
Hot Rocks 1056.
Yeah, we go through our Instagram, a lot of our updates, a lot of the fun stuff, all the just our publicity and stuff like that. Go through our Instagram.
Thank you, everybody, for watching the TechSum podcast. And again, Micha and RJ, we appreciate you guys being here. And then tune in for the next episode. Thank you very much.
The preceding program was a production of Naleo TV.